Rubble lies scattered across the roads of a desolate city. Black smoke billows into the sky. These things serve as scars of the battle between the local military and a terrorist organization. Amidst the smoke and flame, a platoon leader gives orders to his wounded yet victorious squad. Find survivors, treat the injured, watch for enemy remnants. Once the orders are given, he leaves his post and begins aiding in the search. Soon, he comes across a pair of trembling sisters in the tumble-down skeleton of a building. Despite the obvious fear on the elder girl's face, she wraps the younger in her arms and stares at the man with defiance. He gives her a soft smile, then dives into a pocket and produces a bit of candy that he hopes might serve as a peace offering. But she has gone through horrors he cannot even imagine, and the gift only serves to tighten her grip. The only sound is the lonesome howl of the wind. Suddenly, the silence is betrayed by the rumble of the young girl's empty stomach. The man snorts despite himself, then immediately regains his composure and apologizes for the disrespectful display. "My sister is hungry," mutters the elder through flushed cheeks. "She needs to eat. I'll do whatever you want. Just, please, food." The man smiles gently, a true smile, not a trick of the bargain. "In that case, I suppose we'll have to put you to work cleaning the base." The girl nods, her face softening slightly as she considers the prospect of keeping her kin safe. Despite her youth, the world has taught her she must fight for what matters to her, and she would do anything to safeguard her sister's life. Tasked with the lives of his troops, the man recognizes this instinct in her, and he swears then and there to show this small kindred spirit the utmost respect. It has been several days since the older girl started cleaning the platoon's temporary base. She cleans and she cleans and she cleans, all for the sake of her sister. Her hard work brings considerable comfort to the troops, and she quickly becomes their star. Whenever they come across her, they make offerings of sweets and cookies and chewing gum. But she always turns them down with the same reply: "I am already being paid." When the platoon leader sees one of these exchanges, he takes the candy he was about to offer her and puts it back in his pocket. Instead of a gift, he offers a simple word of thanks for her hard work before venturing to the communications room. As he enters, one of his men is busy transcribing a new message that came across the wire. It is a report from headquarters regarding the terrorist organization. It details all the weapons their enemy has purchased, as well as an estimated date and location for their next attack. The man rubs at his chin as he considers this new information. Above all, he wants to keep as many of his troops as safe as possible. As he mulls over his options, a second message comes across the wire. Enemy using children as spies. Take all necessary precautions. The man's head whips around to focus on the girl cleaning in the next room. She nods politely at him and continues her work. Beside her, her little sister waves happily. He responds in kind before shaking his head in an attempt to clear away the doubts that are creeping into his mind. Late that night, the man sits in his room planning their next operation. His pen dashes across the page with conviction. If he can pull this off, it will decimate the terrorist organization without claiming the lives of any of his platoon. As he finishes his work, the girl appears in his doorway. He quickly gathers his notes and shoves them into a drawer. "How are you settling in?" he asks. "Well, thank you. My sister is sleeping again. A smile has returned to her face, and it's all because of you." Her gaze suddenly drops to the floor. "But I know you're about to go away. Is it somewhere dangerous?" "Perhaps," he says with an easy smile. "But I'll come back. I promise." "You have to," whispers the girl before scampering away into the dark. Night passes. The sun rises. As the base stirs to life, the girl is nowhere to be found. She left behind only two things. The first was the mess she created while rummaging through the platoon leader's desk. And the second was her little sister. Though some of his men suffered minor injuries, the platoon emerges from their next fight victorious and whole. They whoop loudly and slap each other on the back, knowing this latest mission means certain destruction for their foe. From a distance, the platoon leader and abandoned girl watch the celebration with clouded expressions. "Where's my sister?" asks the child as she holds back tears. The man pauses, trying and failing to find a way to tell her of the older girl's end. She had been a spy for the terrorists. She chose that path in order to protect her sister. But she failed. The information she stole from the leader's room was false. He had left it there on purpose. Her stealing it had been his plan all along. Acting on the false information, the terrorists arrived at what they thought was their own ambush, only to find the tables turned. It all went exactly as he had planned it, save for the moment the terrorists enacted their revenge against the older girl. No, don't lie to yourself. You knew that was always a possibility. He had weighed the lives of his entire platoon against that of a single young girl and made his decision. But as he stares at the little sister crying before him, he finds himself unable to tell her this truth. As his hand clenches into a fist, the cheering of his men and the sobs of the little girl blur into an endless wall of sound. These days, the man always keeps a piece of candy in his pocket. He does so in the hope he will never forget the weight of all his sacrifices. There is no light in this dark, cramped discipline chamber. No sound. Only a lone boy sitting in melancholy silence. Time and again, he has disobeyed the military's rules and substituted his own judgment for theirs. It seems he will never change. Just then, a cry rings out. "Chow's here," calls a cheerful voice. It is his comrade from the squadron, bearing both a steaming dish of food and an innocent smile. He is one of the only people who bothers to speak to the unapproachable boy, and he does so without a hint of artifice or concern. The food-bearing soldier is honest, bright, and beloved by the rest of his squad mates, which is likely why he'd been assigned to monitor the discipline chamber. "Good to see you again," he says. "But golly, I sure hope this war ends soon. In fact, if I had one wish, it would be to bring peace to the entire world." The soldier's eyes glimmer as he talks. The boy responds with an uninterested grunt. What a stupid thing to say, he thinks. This world will never know peace, It's a fool's thought. When the boy is finally released from the discipline chamber, he finds the rest of his unit engaging in a lively party. And the cheerful soldier who brought him food is at the center of it all. "All hail our hero," the other men cry. We would expect nothing less from one of his lineage. The squad raises their glasses high and cheers the soldier. He was indeed a hero, for while the boy had run off to enemy territory in search of revenge, he risked his life to save those of his comrades. The soldier looks up and sees the boy staring at him. His smile widens as he begins to wave. The boy's hand waves back of its own accord before the mind behind it snaps back to reality and forces it down. No doubt this moment of weakness is because he is surrounded by such good cheer. His face turns a bright red at the folly of his actions. As he stares, the soldier makes his way through the various circles of conversation and approaches the boy. "Got plenty of food over there," he says, but this kind offer only raises the boy's ire. He is angry to see his comrade praised for saving lives. No, more than angry. He is enraged. "Fighting and dying for someone else is stupid," he hisses. The soldier falls silent. Finally, he manages to give the boy a small, troubled smile. The boy is surrounded by enemies in the middle of a torrential downpour. Again, he has abandoned his orders and his squad mates and chosen to attack on his own. The sound and fury of the rain play to the strengths of the surrounding enemy, for he can only make out dim shadows in the dark. His foes tense, preparing to strike. But then... "I've got you." The friendly soldier appears at his back, weapon in hand. The boy's fighting spirit suddenly blazes in his eyes. For the first time in their existence, the two fight with and for each other. Their enemies falter in the face of this furious attack, and soon abandon the fight altogether and flee into the dark. Proud of their victory, the boy breaks out into a sharp grin and turns to his companion, only to have a gout of red splash across his face. The other soldier has been pierced by a single bullet. Blood flows from the wound, mingling with the rain before painting the earth. Pale and shaking, the soldier slumps to the ground. "Why? Why did you help me?" the boy asks. The soldier reaches out for the boy, his hand shaking from cold and fear. But he manages a faint smile all the same. As he attempts to speak, the boy presses his ear to his lips so as not to miss a single word. He grips his hand tightly, as if that can somehow tether this vanishing life to the cold reality of the world. Days have passed since the operation's end. Uncountable people have come to pay their respects to the fallen soldier. Some knelt, many wept, but all spoke of him in the most glowing of terms. I once saw him save a dozen civilians from certain death. He saved my life, as well as my whole squad. He was a hero who lived up to his family's name. But the boy remembers what he said. The last words he ever spoke as his life left him in that falling rain. "I hated fighting. I was always afraid. But I had to live up to my family's expectations." It was a confession of his true self, the one he had kept hidden for so very long. He asked the boy to keep his words a secret. And then, with blood still wet on his lips, he died. Now he can return home a hero. The soldier had such a bright and carefree smile. The boy always thought him a fool, a man who chased ideals that could never become reality. But he, too, had been trapped by the machinations of his family and left to be blown about by the whims of life. Thinking of this, the boy closes his eyes, mourning the soldier as he stands motionless behind his newly dug grave.